when I see Mark Zuckerberg starting to sound more like Elon Musk, based on this, I think Zuck wants to see Facebook look a lot more like X. Online. From a media standpoint, right, because we love to talk about how Hollywood reacts to certain things. Hollywood's self-destructing, especially Hollywood's self-destructing since the re-election of Donald Trump a few weeks ago. He'll be inaugurated on January 20th. And it's been astonishing to watch the shift in tone across multiple places. We saw the hosts of MSNBC, Mika Brzezinski, Joe Scarborough, they decided to go down to Mar-A-Lago to sit down with a man that they referred to as a Nazi and somebody who was going to throw women in jail or take away women's rights and kill us all and be a fascist dictator. Now they went to go have breakfast with him. And we're seeing that from other places. Justin Trudeau came down to Mar-A-Lago this past weekend. I wonder why. And now Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook or Meta, whatever the hell he calls his silly company. I have not been on Facebook in 4 years. I don't know about you guys. Maybe 5 years now? I don't remember. I've not been on Facebook. Didn't care. Because at the time, one of the reasons I got off was the suppression that was going on. Wanted no part of it anymore. Just didn't care. There was nothing on there that interested me all that much anymore. But here we go. Mark Zuckerberg, one of the very people that was either lulled into compliance or forced or was happy to comply with federal agencies of certain alphabet naming. You figure that one out. A few years ago, when it came to quote-unquote disinformation that was being propagated allegedly on several platforms, including Facebook. And at the time, Twitter, when it was owned by Jack Dorsey before Elon Musk came and picked it up. And we know because they testified in Congress about this, saying that, well, yeah, they asked us to remove things that spoke ill of certain politicians not named Donald Trump. It was very clear that certain elements of our government were not a big fan of free speech. And Facebook and Jack Dorsey Twitter and Instagram, which was also Mark Zuckerberg, and places like Google, okay, which would include YouTube, were more than happy to go along. So now that Trump is getting in, they're all having maybe a bit of a change of heart. So let's take a look at this. CEO Mark Zuckerberg visited Mar-A-Lago on Wednesday, just months after the tech entrepreneur publicly praised President-elect Trump following the July 13th assassination attempt. Zuckerberg's visit to Trump's Palm Beach, Florida club was confirmed by Trump advisor Stephen Miller during an episode of The Ingram Angle on Fox. Zuckerberg has been very clear about his desire to be a supporter of and a participant in this change that we're seeing all around America, all around the world with this reform movement that Donald Trump is leading. Mark Zuckerberg, like so many business leaders, understands that President Trump is an agent of change, an agent of prosperity. Oh, interesting choice of words from a guy like Zuck. Miller added that the tech CEO, quote, has his own interests, but sees Trump's second term as a chance at a national renewal. Mark obviously has his own interests, and he has his own company, and he has his own agenda, Miller said. But he's made clear that he wants to support the national renewal of America under Trump's leadership. Quote, seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life, Zuckerberg told Bloomberg just days after the shooting took place. On some level, as an American, it's like hard not to get kind of emotional about that spirit and that fight. And I think that's why a lot of people like the guy, he added. Zuckerberg's visit to Mar-a-Lago is not the Facebook founder's first interaction with the Republican leader. In August, Trump told Fox Business host Maria Bartiromo that Zuckerberg called him to apologize over an error. So Mark Zuckerberg called me. First of all, he called me 2 times. He called me after the event, and he said that was really amazing. Trump said on August 1st, it was really brave, and he actually announced that he's not going to support a Democrat because he can't, because he respected me for what I did that day, Trump said. I think what I did, to me, was a normal response. Trump added that Zuck apologized after Facebook mislabeled a photo of him that went viral. He actually apologized, said they made a mistake, and they're correcting the mistake. So here we go. I think, and you guys in the chat, let me know what you think. This one to me, and I remember the story back in July when all this happened, but would this have happened? Would Mark Zuckerberg have had that reaction in July that he did? And would he have been so ready to jump on a plane to go visit Trump at Mar-A-Lago this past week if Elon Musk hadn't bought X? Let me tell you what I think this is, and this is why I brought this story up. My analytical brain tells me that, now, I don't want to discount the fact that Mark Zuckerberg may very well be very genuine in the statements that he's making right now. I'm not going to take that away from him. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think Mark Zuckerberg is lying for clout. He could be, but I have no evidence of that per se. Granted, he's not been a big fan of people like Trump and Republicans in the past, but everybody can have a change of heart. All right, so let's take that at face value. My point is, I think that there is a somewhat significant amount of, let's call it a driving force, a motivation for Zuckerberg in this case because of what's happened with X. And what this tells me is that, right now, you've got Elon Musk out there talking about how great X is and how much things have changed, the number of interactions on a daily basis, the number of active users on a daily basis on X has grown significantly since he's come in and taken it over, made some of the changes that he has, trying to turn X back into more of a true free speech platform. No more suppression, no more picking, sides of who gets to say what and, who gets to express what opinions and blah, 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 blah. Now, I know, obviously, they still have some guide rails on there, some of them for good, some of them need to be fixed still. I get it. It's not perfect. Nothing is. But on the other side of that equation, you've got all these people out there in the media and all the Looney Tunes and the losers and the wackos that went over to like Blue Sky and stuff like this, which I haven't checked my Blue Sky account in like 2 weeks. I need to go back and do that because that was getting to be funny. I might have to do a video or a live stream where I just do Valiant Reads crazy Blue Sky stuff. I think we need to do that. But everybody else wants to tell you that X is really not that well off. Things aren't all that great. It's not all that awesome. It's not really the number one source for people to go find news and all this. When I see Mark Zuckerberg starting to sound more like Elon Musk, a little bit, and I think this is going to be a gradual progression, the fact that he's going into this arena, the fact that he's saying what he's saying about Trump, he said this in July, now he's going to meet with him down at Mar-A-Lago. Something tells me that Mark Zuckerberg is very cognizant of the fact that X is kicking his ass because of Elon and because of what he's doing over there. And because, look, I think Facebook has been slowly dying for years. I think when I left Facebook 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was, I wasn't alone. I mean, I wasn't trying to drag a bunch of people out the room with me, but I don't think I was alone. I think obviously the usage on that website over the last several years has declined precipitously. It's considered to be, kind of boomer, I guess, at this point, which is a term I hate because it gets so misused because, no, Gen Xers are not boomers. Those are baby boomers, way older than we are. My mother is actually, my mother's kind of on the other side of it. She's not even really a baby boomer because she wasn't born in 45 or 44. Point being is that its population on Facebook seems to be slowly aging out, as crazy as that sounds. I know there's still a lot of active users and people that use it, but for younger folks, obviously TikTok is much more popular. Instagram, which, to be fair, is owned by Zuck, is owned by Meta, Facebook. Instagram's a part of that. Instagram's a big thing for them, but it's not really set up like X is or like Facebook is. It's very different, obviously. Facebook itself seems to be just kind of drifting by. And maybe this, in Zuck's mind, is something that will help reinvigorate Facebook, make people want to come back, make people want to use it again, basically, he would probably, based on this, I think Zuck wants to see Facebook look a lot more like X in regards to the people that actively use it, because it's a money machine. I mean, more people on a platform like that with more activity generates more ad revenue. I don't think Facebook is doing what it could be or should be. at least not on that platform. I think he sees a lot of opportunity there, and he also detects the shifting winds. And maybe Zuckerberg, like a lot of people out there, because the media is so full of crap and they lie to folks' faces all the time. We've talked about it before, like our buddy Mark Mitchell from Rasmussen, who was here a number of times in the last month. Look at all the polling data that was deliberately misleading, in my opinion, for months. For months. We have a story that showed that Kamala Harris's own internal campaign polling never had her at any point during the 90 to 100 days she was in the race, never at any point had her ahead of Donald Trump. But everybody else out there wanted you to think she was, so she could scam up $1.5 billion in contributions and donations and then blow it all on what? Building phony baloney sets for podcasts that she didn't want to fly to, like the Call Her Daddy podcast, that kind of stuff. I think Zuckerberg is like, wow, maybe he's starting to realize more and more and more. Elon had his epiphany a few years ago. Maybe Zuckerberg might be having his, where he's realizing, whoo, we have really been lied to. We have really, really been lied to. And I want you to imagine for a second, if a guy like Mark Zuckerberg, for all the hate that we've had for the guy over the years because of what he and Facebook have done, I want you to imagine for a second if he turns that corner and starts acting more like Elon Musk. It's going to be something, kids. I'm looking forward to that. I'm not saying it's going to happen, and I'm not saying that this is a guarantee of it happening. Again, I'm just looking at the story, and I'm scratching my head, and I'm thinking, okay, let's see where this goes. It's a good sign.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.